Welcome to today's webinar, Introducing Suite Solutions for Distribution Customers. This presentation and the demonstrations you will see today are designed for existing NetSuite customers, specifically our customers who are in the wholesale distribution vertical. As you know, NetSuite is now part of Oracle, and we are operating as one of Oracle's global business units. This is our safe harbor statement. I do want to point out, however, that the solutions and applications we're focused on today are generally available to our customers. We're going to begin with a brief overview of Suite Solutions, what they are, and how they can be of value to our customers. From there, we've selected 4 from our Suite Solutions library to cover in more detail. Those are vendor prepayments, consolidated invoicing, pay when paid, and dashboard for distributors. So what are Suite Solutions? Suite Solutions are industry-leading solution accelerators designed and developed by NetSuite Professional Services, leveraging industry best practices that we have amassed over multiple years of implementing tens of thousands of customers worldwide. Our proficiency in various industries, and in the wholesale distribution industry in particular, has been put to practice when developing these solutions. NetSuite offers a library of ready-to-launch solutions that address common business requirements. These solutions facilitate accelerated time to market and reduce deployment and configuration costs, enabling our customers to achieve results faster and with fewer resources. Earlier, I mentioned all of the experience that NetSuite has accumulated working with deploying tens of thousands of customers. That translates into 2 decades of experience. And Suite Solutions represents the absolute best of that collective knowledge. In short, across all of our verticals, this library solutions tackles the common business challenges that we've seen our customers face, the most common NetSuite configurations that have been deployed, as well as the most common NetSuite customizations. So basically, a good way to think about these is you're purchasing a solution that has already been proven to solve challenges that other customers have faced, and you're purchasing it in a way that's going to accelerate your ability to take advantage of that. So how does all of this help our current customers? Well, Suite Solutions provides the following benefits. With our leading industry practices, we allow customers to benefit from our technical and industry expertise and our approach to quickly and effectively implement a solution that addresses current business needs, while at the same time we're providing a framework that enables additional features as your business evolves. Suite Solutions are built on an extensible foundation. They are designed to be configured very quickly and to address common use cases and specific business requirements. Because they're designed that way, they allow for accelerated deployment. Utilizing these foundation solutions allows us to quickly assess and identify the business requirements and then allow our customers to achieve a desired and cost-effective solution with a quick configuration, resulting in accelerated implementation times. The final benefit is that solutions reduce risk, delivery time, and cost by utilizing a solution that was designed to ensure a smooth and well-executed implementation and an approach that leverages leading practices through our implementation methodology. So now that we've talked a little bit about the background, it's my absolute pleasure to turn the webinar over to our industry expert, Mark Hansen from our Solution Consulting team.
Thank you very much, Kim. And just give me 1 second so I can go ahead and share my screen here. All right. So can you see my screen and can you hear me okay before we get started?
Absolutely.
Sounds great, Mark.
All right, great. So good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you're located today. My name is Mark Hansen, and I'm a solution consultant here at NetSuite in the wholesale distribution vertical. I'm a part of the account management organization, and if you're not familiar with the account management organization, our primary focus is to help our customers leverage and extend their current NetSuite capabilities with the use of suite solutions just like the ones that we're going to go over today. I've spent my entire career in software thus far. I come from a background of implementation consulting, and I've worked at NetSuite for the past several years assisting our customers. I'm very excited to be here today, and just to echo what was said before, if there's any questions at all or anything needs clarification, anything that I've gone over today, please don't hesitate to just enter them into that chat box. We'll be getting to everything that we can at the end of today's presentation, and any outstanding or remaining questions, we'll be sure to pass those along to your account manager so you can be armed with all the information that you need to make the best informed decision. So let's get started. We're first going to go over a quick overview of the 4 suite solutions that we'll be covering today. The first one being consolidated invoicing. So what is consolidated invoicing and how did this come about? Well, this is the ability to provide multiple invoices in one consolidated PDF document to your customers. The ultimate goal here is to streamline your billing, your accounts receivable processing, all the while improving your customer relationships, your customer experience, and of course reducing your costs. Namely in this suite solution, your invoicing costs. Second suite solution we'll be covering is our vendor prepayment. This suite solution allows you the ability to pay your vendors before the invoice is actually received and gives you full visibility into things like bill credits, payments, and prepayments. The ultimate goal for this one is to improve your vendor relationships and to save you time spent making advanced prepayments to vendors while giving you some more clarity into your actual balance sheet information and financial information. The third suite solution, and completely switching gears here, is pay when paid. So originally this was a requirement for our services customers and our advertising media publishing group. Recently we've seen an increase in the number of product-based customers that also need this capability, so to pay their vendors when the funds were available or to pay when paid. This aims to significantly improve your payment processing when your payables are dependent on receivables. It increases your efficiency, it reduces errors, and it allows you to easily confirm that you do in fact have enough to pay your vendors. And the final suite solution is our dashboards for distribution customers. So the way that this came about is we sent out a survey to our customers and we asked them to send us screenshots of their dashboard. Well, what we found was that they weren't fully utilizing the dashboards, the reports, the saved searches, to the fullest potential in the way that we intended the system to function. So what we did is we created predefined, out-of-the-box, role-specific dashboards to ensure that our customers were leveraging leading practices, getting the visibility, and having the ability to make real-time decisions the way that the system is fully intended to. About 25 hours of professional services work went into this suite solution, and we've gotten a great customer response so far. So let's dive in here and let's go over our first suite solution, consolidated invoicing. Just a few slides here and then we'll go into our live demo environments. Basically, our customers wanted the ability to present a consolidated invoice to their customers, and they also wanted to be able to define how they would consolidate their invoices as well as what type of invoice layouts would be communicated to their customers. Likewise, accounts receivable organizations, collections, your back-end accounting team wanted the ability to quickly search and filter and then either accept and pay bills based on that consolidation number. Finally, there was a need for a workflow to alert customers of overdue balances. So today we'll be going through a flow showing you how you can automatically send out email alerts when any customer is overdue. Very powerful stuff. And the ultimate goal here is, like I said, to improve customer satisfaction, but also to really increase the efficiencies in your company. So what is it? Well, it's the ability to find rules and preferences that dictate how you're going to group your invoices together in order to provide consolidated PDF format invoices for your customers. We're giving you a few different options as far as when you want to consolidate these invoices, as well as how you want to consolidate. So for example, we're going to be doing this based off due date today. You can also do this based on location. Maybe you want to do it based off contract if you're a services company. Point being, it's very flexible. You have multiple options as to when and how you want the system to function and really automate all these processes. The last piece for the accounting team. Like I said, they wanted the ability to filter by consolidated invoice number, quickly apply payments to any corresponding invoices. So what else does the suite solution provide? Well, out of the box, there's 4 different PDF layouts with the option to email invoices to customers and multiple recipients. And also, if you needed to exclude customers from receiving these, there's a checkbox on the customer level as well that easily allows you to do so. And finally, we want to align your consolidated invoicing with your AR aging and your collections, and we'll be showing you more of this in the demo. So here's the flow or the structure for today's presentation that we'll be going over. We're going to start by going through the back-end setup. We'll show you how you can pick your consolidated basis, your preferences as to how you want to consolidate. We'll take a look at the different layout preferences that come out of the box. And then we'll go through a live example of seeded invoices that I've set up in our online consolidation page. Show you how you can search for invoices, and eventually we'll create a PDF layout that we'll send out to your customers. We'll wrap out with the aging AR process. We'll show you that collections workflow that I've mentioned now. We'll go through some collection templates, and then we'll show you how you can add collection notes right on the customer record. So without further ado, let's hop into our demo environment here. And we'll start off with our consolidated invoice setup. So I'll log into my demo account here. And we're going to go into our administrator role just so we have full access of everything that's going on with both the suite solutions that we'll be covering. Okay. So try this again. We'll go into our setup here, and we'll throw it into edit mode so you can see all the different features and functionality that are available with this suite solution. First thing I want to point out is that you can enable this either for all your customers or select customers. And again, you can do this on a customer-by-customer basis as well. For today, we're going to be doing this for all of our customers. We are going to enable online consolidation, and that'll make more sense in a few minutes when we actually go to the online consolidation page. Next, we want to define the basis that we're doing this off of. So we've got a few different options here. Today, we're going to be doing this based off due date. But as you can see, you have 6 options: billing address, location, contract, project, and source. But if you wanted to go ahead and define your own basis, and if this doesn't meet your needs, you're free to also create your own. So out of the box, we have 3 different preferences that we allow you to do here. Very flexible, whatever is going to meet your business needs and allow this to function as smoothly as possible for you. So how's this information pulled in? Well, we're leveraging several saved searches here. And what this means is that a new consolidated invoice will be created based on the checkboxes that we just showed you for this one, due date. So when the values match the criteria of the saved search, a new consolidated invoice is going to be created. So for example, all invoices consolidated based on this due date is going to kick off a consolidated PDF invoice. You also have the option to define your PDF layout that you can choose here. And again, if you wanted to get a little bit creative and create your own, we can absolutely help you there as well. The next thing that we will point out here is to find our email sender. So who do we want this email to be coming from? Well, in this situation, I'm logged in as Alex Wolf, and that's who it'll be coming from. We also have the ability to send an email template. So this one is one of our stock templates for collections notice, the first past due. Again, you're free to create any email template that you want. It's just as flexible as doing this within NetSuite. Finally, who are we communicating this to? So this is, again, a demo account. So this is just an example. But this is the email that I'm going to be sending this to when they have an overdue balance or when they have a consolidated invoice that's available. You'll also notice that we can get a little bit more specific here. If you go into your customer record, you'll notice that you have different roles assigned to your customers. We've got alternate contacts, consultants, decision makers, and primary contacts. So if you wanted to set it up to also kick off emails to them, you're free to do that as well. So really setting this up in the background, putting in place this automation to ensure that this runs smoothly in your NetSuite instances. Like I said before, if you'd like to get more granular and you want to set up these preferences on the customer level, maybe you want to be customer specific as to how you communicate your invoices, there's going to be a new tab now with this suite solution right on the customer record that shows you the consolidated invoice, allows you to change the email sender, to exclude the customer, to put a new PDF layout for that specific customer, or a specific email template. Again, very flexible. You can do this default across all customers like we are today, or you can go down to the customer most granular level. So now that we've gone ahead and showed you the back-end setup, let's see this in action. So we're going to go ahead and click on our Consolidate Customer Invoices, and we're brought to our online UI page for our Consolidate Customer Invoice screen. This is a new page that comes with this suite solution. The first step would be to run your billing process to generate actual invoice records within NetSuite, and then the second step is what we're doing now. This can also be done via a scheduled script, or you can create the consolidation right from the customer record as well. So if we look across the filters here at the top, this is going to allow you to filter the information that we're seeing here. So all these down here are all the ones that are available to me today. But if you wanted to filter by a specific customer, specific subsidiary, put a specific due date, you're free to do that as well. Like I said, though, today we're just going to be selecting from this list. So as you can see here, we have the number of invoices for each of these customers. Many of these just have 2. The bottom one has 4. Today we're going to be working with our customer 3M. So we'll select our number of invoices just to give you an idea of what this looks like. We've got both of the invoices that are going to be sent out on this consolidated PDF. And if we click into the document number, you'll see that this is just bringing you right back to the invoice document, just like you would see in your regular NetSuite instance. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click our checkbox for Consolidate. We'll submit, and when I do, it's going to send out one compact PDF document, making it simpler for your customers. No need to send 2 or more separate invoices or 4 like the one you saw at the bottom. It's bringing it all into one nice bundled package for you. All right, so click in here to get some details. It gives me now a comprehensive list of all the different consolidated invoices that I have, including the one that we just submitted. So you can see the customer information here. You can see that the status has been set to complete, and there's 2 total invoices. Let's go ahead and click in here. So now you can get some sense of the visibility you have with this suite solution and some of the automation that it provides. So we've got our invoice information, both the consolidated invoices, the consolidated invoice date right here. We've got the PDF file, which we'll click here into in just a second. We've got some amount information, again, the total number of invoices, the subsidiary that we're using here, the due date, the status again being complete, and some term information, so net 30 right there. We'll go ahead and we'll download this PDF file and click in to give you a sense of what one of our out-of-the-box PDF consolidated invoice forms look like. So this is just one example, but this is very flexible. So you can use what we provide you out of the box, or you can create your own. The way that would look is you would meet with our professional services team. They'd gain a better understanding of your requirements, and they would work with you to build something that meets exactly what you're looking for. Okay. So we've created a consolidated invoice, we've sent it out to the customer, and now we're ready to make a payment. So we'll go to our payment screen. And again, the customer was 3M, so I'll search here for 3M. Give me one sec. There we go. All right. And just to refresh my memory, we're looking at consolidated invoice number 8. So a big question that we get is, how can our accounts receivable and our back-end accounting team manage this? Well, this is very similar to the typical payment process, but it's going to be a little bit different now because we have the ability to filter by our consolidated invoice number. So you'll remember we were looking at 2 invoices. If we go ahead here and filter for the CI number, so a use case for this would be the customer calls you up. They say, I just want to pay for consolidated invoice number 8 today. Instead of having to click through all of these, and there may be, tens of these on here, we'll just go ahead and click Pay All. No need to individually select, and we can go ahead and save this payment. Give it a second to load here, and now you'll notice that the status has been changed to deposited. So what if they don't make a payment? Maybe they have some overdue balances. How do we manage this within NetSuite? Well, the Suite solution also provides a collection workflow. And let me just put this back on my home screen. And we'll transition back now to the PowerPoint whoops, and give you an idea of what this looks like. So this is our collection workflow that comes out of the box, and there's several of these. Now this may look overwhelming at first, but really it's very simple. So these boxes that you see here represent action items. The arrows represent navigation, defining certain conditions that must be met before you move on to your next action item. On the right side, what you can see that I have highlighted are the types of templates that we're using and how you want to communicate to your customers that they do have an overdue balance. So this workflow is telling the system to trigger off different collection notifications based on how you set it up, whether you want to take what we have in stock, whether you want to create your own, or whether you want to modify this. It's all very simple, and professional services is also always there to help. So for example, maybe you want to send a reminder a few days before the due date and then a few days after the due date. If it's been a substantially long time, maybe you want to trigger a task to one of your collections employees to follow up with that client. Let's say it's been 90 days or whatever the threshold is that you've set up. We're bringing this automation. We're eliminating having to do these manual reminders, and it's very flexible, whatever meets your business needs. Now that we've set up this workflow, let's take a look at an example of one of these, what this looks like. So we'll go into a customer record, and this is very similar to the customer record that you see today. You see that we do have this consolidated invoice tab over here, and at the bottom, we have a series of emails that have been automatically kicked off to this customer. So you're still getting that 360-degree view of your customer, but these invoices are being sent automatically, bringing that automation and really making sure that you're staying on top of your collections process. Here's an example of one of those emails now. So you can see in the middle of the email here, we've got specific consolidated invoice information. We've got the consolidated invoice number, the date, the due date, most importantly, and then the amount that they owe. Maybe you have an advanced partner center or a customer center, and if you do, this even becomes more powerful, where you're able to do something like embed a link right here that allows them to make a payment right from the screen, making it easy. So all this automation really aims to reduce your days sales outstanding, increase your efficiencies, and really streamline all of your processes. The final thing that I wanted to point out here is our collection sub-tab. So this is going to be something that maybe you're familiar with, but it's a little bit more built out now that we have our consolidated invoice suite solution applied. So maybe you've connected with someone at the company. Maybe they've made a commitment to pay you, and you want to add those notes here. This is all also reportable information, so if you want to create a saved search so upper management has increased visibility into when people have said they're going to pay versus when they actually do, this just allows you to, again, be forward-thinking and make better strategic decisions. So to recap here what we've been over, we set up our consolidated invoice. We walked through a live example. We showed you how to create the consolidated invoice, and then we went through our collections workflow, showed you what the email templates look like, as well as our collection notes on the customer record. The ultimate goal here is to improve satisfaction. First off, allows you to provide one invoice to your customers so they won't be bombarded or overwhelmed with an influx of multiple invoices. And in addition, giving you the ability and the flexibility to decide how and when you'd like to trigger consolidation, as well as what format. We also allow you to manage your AR aging process via those workflows that we saw, and really the overall aim is to improve your efficiencies and streamline all your processes. So that was consolidated invoicing. The next suite solution that we'll be going over is our vendor prepayment. Now, it's a common practice in many industries to pay your vendors before the invoice is actually received. So what we've done is we've added some custom fields and workflows that allow you to accomplish this easily and automate your processes, all the while giving you full visibility into not only your bill credits and your bill payments, but to eliminate manual work and give you a true view into your balance sheet and financials. The goals of this suite solution are first to save you the time spent making advanced printer prepayments, to automate the process of the creation, the tracking, and the application of those prepayments, to give you visibility into things like bill credits and unused prepayments or orphan credits, as we'll see in a few minutes, to provide an automated vendor notification when the prepayments have been applied to a bill, and ultimately allow you to be forward-thinking as an organization and provide clarity into your balance sheet information. A few things to point out here. This is both One World and non-One World compatible, as well as multi-currency compliant. The only prerequisite here is that you are using purchase orders and you have payment processing set up as well within NetSuite. So the flow is a little bit different now for this suite solution. We're going to start off entering a purchase order. If there's a prepayment required, we'll go ahead and enter that prepayment record or create the prepayment record. If the purchase order is in approved status, which today, yes, it will be, we'll create that prepayment bill. When we create the prepayment bill, we'll trigger the prepayment process, which is a series of custom fields and workflows that are introduced in this suite solution. And after we complete that process, we'll have some unapplied payment credits, which we can then apply once the invoice is received from our vendor. Currently in NetSuite, you're used to going from a purchase order to a receipt to a vendor bill with no ability to apply your prepayment. So we've added in this additional functionality to give you the tools to make prepayments and track it all the way through the life cycle, giving you an accurate view, again, into your balance sheet, into your financials, and really to know how much money you actually have available versus what's tied up and is going to have to be paid later on anyways. So we'll hop again back into our demo environments and pull up a purchase order here. This is something that actually first we will do the setup. So we'll go into our vendor prepayment preferences setup. And this would show all the different prepayment preferences that you have, and there may be several. There may be just one like I've shown here. So if you want to do this different by vendor, you're able to do that as well. So let's go ahead and throw this in edit mode. So again, we can see all the different preferences that are available to us that we can turn on for this suite solution. So the first thing we want to do is to define a prepayment clearing account. So a clearing account, if you're not familiar, is a temporary account containing costs or amounts that are transferred to a new account at a later date. We then wanted to find the different roles that have access to the features and the functionality of this suite solution and that are allowed to make and apply prepayments. And then we can set up a series of notifications in the second section right here. So do we want the vendor to be notified? Yes, we do. We'd like them to be generating an email and sent out. And then we're defining the email template on the third in this section right here. Moving along here to our prepayment hold. We do, yes, in this situation want to apply a payment hold to our all prepaid bills. And if you also want to apply a hold to your bills after PO approval, that adds another extra level of controls here. For today's demonstration, that's not going to be necessary. So now we've shown you how you can set this up and define these preferences. Let's go ahead and we'll see this in action. So now we'll go into the purchase order. And this is a purchase order that I've set up. You've got your vendor information, your subsidiary information, everything that you're used to. Going down to the bottom, you can see our item that we created on this purchase order. Obviously, there's going to be many more than just one item on a purchase order, but just for demo purposes, we're keeping it simple today. The total amount of this bill is going to be $168, so keep that in mind once we move along here in just a second. The only two things different are you're going to have this vendor prepayment sub-tab, and after you submit the order, which I've already done, this new vendor prepayment button is going to appear. So let's go ahead and click into that button now. This is a custom form here. It's associated with our purchase order. A few different things that we need to add in are prepayment details. So we'll give this a name of our Apple Inc. Prepayments. Prepayment amount, remember that was $168. And the prepayment bill due date. Now, since I created this purchase order today, this is going to remain the same. We can go ahead and save this. And as we do, you'll notice now that a prepayment record, the first record associated with this vendor bill, is automatically created. Let's go ahead and drill in here. Okay, so here's our bill. This has been created once we've done that. Default settings are to put a payment hold checkbox here. We'll throw it into edit mode, and since we're going through the process, I'm going to remove that hold now. You'll notice that this is automatically in approved status. Let's save this. And once this loads, we can go into our Make Payment screen, just like you would a normal bill, but again, this is only a prepayment. Scrolling down here, you can notice that we do have a checkbox for that associated bill. And once we save this record, we can go back into the vendor prepayment record here. You'll notice that several new records have been created. So we just started off again with that vendor prepayment bill. We now have a prepayment bill payment, and we have a prepayment credit. So important here, these both were automatically created. When it comes time to pay our vendor bill, the money is now out of our primary account. It's in that accrued expenses account, and we'll be able to just pay with the bill credit. So to summarize so far, we've created our vendor prepayment. We triggered a bill to be created against that prepayment. We paid the prepayment bill, and as a result, we've created this credit. So what this is all doing, it's allowing us a true view into our balance sheet information. And again, allowing us to be forward-looking as an organization. We know exactly where we stand financially, and we have a true view into actually how much money we really have. Let's go back into the purchase order. And let's say that a few days, a few weeks go by, and we're ready to actually pay this bill. So we can go through the normal process, but remember, we have technically already taken the funds out of the account, so it's just a matter of applying the credit to the bill. So we'll click into the bill. Just give this a second to load here. We'll click Save once it does, and just add a value for location. There we go. Okay. So once this bill has now saved, we have a new button here for Apply Prepayments. So a very simple, easy process here. We're now able to take those credits and apply them to a bill. You'll remember I mentioned some orphan credits before. If you have any credits that are not yet applied, maybe you have a remaining $100 from a different credit or $100 from another, you can also apply it in this way. In this situation, we do not have any orphan credits here. So what I would do here is I would take the $168 that we've already paid into that account. We've gotten a credit. We can apply the credit. And the process is complete. Jumping back into the PowerPoint here, just to do a quick recap, we created a vendor prepayment. We created a vendor prepayment preferences. We then entered a purchase order just like you would today, but then we entered a new prepayment record. We automated the process around creating a bill payment. We allowed you to move the funds out of that account into a new one and then apply your prepayment credit. So the value here, we're saving you time, bringing automation, giving you a true view into actually how many funds you have versus what you'll owe in the future, allowing you to be forward-looking as an organization and bring clarity into your balance sheet information and your financials. So switching gears here, we're going to talk about a new suite solution called Pay When Paid. So like I said before, this was initially a requirement for our services, advertising, media, and publishing group, so our services-based verticals, non-products. But we eventually realized, and our customers began bringing this to us, that this is also very useful for products-based businesses as well. So Pay When Paid provides you an advantage in businesses where the payments of bills are contingent on receipt of payments from an associated customer, in this case a customer record. Tracking these associations within a traditional AP/AR process is time-consuming, it's inefficient, and most companies are unable to clearly see their receivables and related payables. So now we have this suite solution that's tailored specifically to support this type of business process. There's two different types of Pay When Paid records. The first one is a project. So, for example, a services company, maybe a consulting company that pays their vendors when their customer has paid them, linking to an associated project. The second one is our Pay When Paid ID, and this is what we use for products-based companies. A good example of this would be a car dealership, or at least one of the most basic examples. The primary difference between a project and a Pay When Paid ID is the Pay When Paid ID type processing is a custom record that's created and then selected to link sales to purchases instead of sales to a project. So again, an example, holding a bill for consignment goods until the sales have exceeded the bill amount. Typical Pay When Paid flow. We would first set preferences. We would define our vendors. We would define our Pay When Paid record link. We would then go through the purchase transactions, sales transactions, update our Pay When Paid balances, release our on-hold bills, and then pick up where the native NetSuite Pay Bills functionality drops off. So what this does is this significantly improves your payment processing. Again, when payables are dependent directly on receivables, it increases your efficiency, it reduces errors, and it allows you to easily confirm that you do, in fact, have enough funds to pay your vendors, greatly improving your control around your payables process. Now, the last solution that we want to go over is our wholesale distribution dashboards. So like I mentioned before, we did a survey of our customers, and we found out they really weren't getting the maximum use out of their dashboards. We wanted to provide a strong foundation for our customers and make sure that they were utilizing the system the way that it's intended. Again, 2,500 hours went into this. You get that all out of the box for a very affordable price, and we've gotten some great reviews so far. So what does it include? Well, first off, 12 role-based dashboards, as you can see here, everything from supply chain manager to customer service to sales rep to sales and operations to controller, preloaded, pre-configured, out-of-the-box dashboards that are tailored to each of these roles based on industry standards and leading practices that our customers have said to us that they need to see and do right away to be the most effective as possible at these different roles. Secondly, 11 new center tabs. And if you're not familiar with your center tabs, those are going to be the different drop-down tabs that go along the top axis of your screen. So navigation tabs at the top of your dashboards. Take a look at things like Suite View, Suite Analytics, really getting you better view into analytics by roles and building out each of these center tabs, just allowing you to do further analysis and just get many more metrics than you normally would with your regular dashboards. Also, 18 custom KPI scorecards. So what we've done is we've created 18 new scorecards, something that is not available even if you were to create these from scratch, and over 75 preloaded KPIs with over 160 saved searches. So you think about how many saved searches that you have to create and what the process is like there. These come directly to you out of the box, allow you to hit the ground running, have a really solid foundation. Again, 2,500 hours went in here. It's based all on industry standards, best practices, and customer feedback. Upon implementation, you'll be able to right away navigate, perform analysis easily throughout the system, and ensure that you're getting the maximum efficiency out of your product. So that's everything that I had for today. Thank you, everyone, for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's presentation. And why don't we now go into the comment section and see if there's any questions that I can answer.
Thank you, Mark. Yes, we do have quite a few questions that have come in. For everyone that's on the line, if you have a question and haven't had a chance yet to enter that, please go ahead and type that question in to the Q&A panel in WebEx. If for some reason we're not able to get to all of the questions today, don't worry. We're capturing your question, and we will be sure and get that information over to your account manager, who can follow up and ensure that we get your question answered. So with that, let me go ahead and dive into our first set of questions we have. So Mark, could you just talk a little, we have a lot of people that are basically saying, hey, this is really interesting. How would I get started with something like this? Can you just take a little time and talk about kind of the implementation process for Suite Solutions? How do people get started with these, and then kind of how does that look? Is PS involved, those types of things?
Sure, absolutely. So the process would be very similar at the beginning. You would work with your account manager. If you wanted to see a personalized, tailored demo to you for any of these suite solutions, you can set that up with your account manager. He would bring in a solution consultant like myself, and we can go through that process. But the great thing about these prepackaged and predefined suite solutions is that there's not much implementation involved. So if you think back to your ERP implementation, and maybe that took quite some time, it's a very big project. These are things that are ready to go very quickly. They come at a very affordable price, and you get a really great value out of these. So I would say it's worth exploring. If you found any of this useful to your business, which I'm sure that you did, you can really get up and running on this very quickly.
Thanks, Mark. Let's see. We did have a couple of, I want to start kind of as questions were coming in, and we did have some questions that came in when you were talking about consolidated invoicing. One of the questions was around, and that seemed like it to be a feature that people were pretty excited about, or a solution that people were very excited about. One of the questions that came in that was interesting was, is there a way in consolidated invoicing, does it support functionality where, just as one example, you would have the same line item for a particular item that you want to have on the invoice, but there might be a rate that varies as part of the separate invoices. Can you maybe talk through how something like that might be handled?
Sorry, I'm not sure I understand the question. So you're saying on a consolidated invoice you have so on a consolidated invoice there's multiple invoices that are included. Are you talking about the items that are inside of each of those invoices?
Correct. And then as you consolidate it, then how does that play out? If say there's differing rates but maybe the same item is used. That was one example that came up a couple of times.
Sure. So that would be specific to the customer. Any way that you have your different rates or discounts set up with your customer, that's building all of that in. It's not changing any of that information. It's just taking each individual invoice exactly how it is, and it's consolidating it with other invoices that are outstanding to that customer. So anytime you want to configure something differently for a specific customer, you're absolutely free to do so.
Okay, great. There were people today that were wondering if all of these are included in, I think maybe some people joined late, if these are all included in one suite solution. Are these separate suite solutions? So can you just clarify that as far as the four that we covered today?
Sure. So each of these suite solutions, consolidated invoicing, vendor prepayments, the pay when paid, and the dashboards are four separate suite solutions. So you would go to your account manager and you would talk about each of these on an individual basis.
Great, thank you. Let's see, another question that came up around consolidated invoicing. Is there a way to have consolidated invoicing? I have multiple subsidiaries set up today with NetSuite. Will consolidated invoicing work in that scenario?
Yep, absolutely. So this is OneWorld and non-OneWorld compatible, and you can do this based on any sort of subsidiaries that you have. What I showed you in the preferences in the beginning, you can set that up, and if you wanted to have different rules based on subsidiary, different rules based on customer, it's very flexible in that regard, and you're free to do whatever is going to be meeting your business needs. Okay,
great. Mark, there are a few questions around vendor prepayment, and because we have a little bit of time left, and they're about the flow that you walked through, would it be possible for you to just pull that back up and just walk through that again at a high level quickly?
Sure.
That would be great. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So we will start off with our purchase order here. There we go. All right. So we'll go ahead and we'll make a copy of this purchase order so we can start fresh. And typical purchase order that you see here, but we do have this vendor prepayments tab now. And when I go ahead and I save this purchase order, we're going to have this new tab for our vendor prepayments. So this is where you're putting everything from the cash that you have into a new account, and it's going to kick off now a credit. So we'll go ahead and we'll give some details here. Our Apple Incorporated prepayments. This is for $168 again. Go ahead and save that here. And now once I do, you'll see that the system's automatically creating a prepayment bill for me. So looks like a typical bill that you would see, but this is just for the vendor prepayments. All right, so we're clicking into our bill here, and now we're able to pick up the regular make payments process, but again, we're just doing this now for our prepayments. If you go to the bottom, you'll see the associated bill that we were just looking at. I'll click Save. And when we go back into our vendor prepayment record, you'll see a few things now have been created. So we had that prepayment bill already. We've also got the prepayment bill payments, as well as a credit that's been generated. So this is now allowing us, when we're going to make the payment, instead of taking it out of our regular accounts, we're doing this all in advance, so this is giving us a credit that we can then apply. So I would go back into my purchase order. So let's say a few days go by, we receive the invoice, we're ready to pay that bill. And keep in mind this has all been pre-taken out of my account. Click Save. All right, and then a button appears now for Apply Prepayments. If you had any unused credits that were associated with this vendor from other bills that you've not used, that would appear also here. But for today, we would just be applying this $168 that we took out previously. We would go ahead and click Submit. And then it would apply this again to the, it would go ahead and now apply that to the bill. Does that answer the questions?
Yeah, actually, yeah, several people have been saying thank you as you've been going through this for a second time. So thank you for that, Mark.
Sure.
We have time for just one more question. We do have some people that are on the line that are familiar with using workflow functionality that's native to NetSuite, as well as scripting. And a few people are asking if you can provide some guidelines around when does it make sense to try and do these customizations on our own versus maybe looking at a suite solution. We'd love to hear your point of view on that.
Sure. So again, one of the great things about these suite solutions is that they come with workflows that are already set up. Many people struggle with creating workflows, although our professional services team is always there to help you. I think just one of the great things about the consolidated invoicing in general is that you get this starting point. You're on a good foundation with the collections workflow or whatever it may be. There's also workflows that come with the vendor prepayments, and you can kind of customize them and tailor them from there. So you get started with it already set up. You can set up your different email templates. And if I could just go back to that screen, I'll be able to kind of show you what I'm talking about there. Just give me 1 second. Okay. So just going back to this. This is the workflow, one of the workflows that comes with our consolidated invoice suite solution. So basically the way that this would already come is with all these different emails that come right out of the box, standard templates right here, but you can kind of customize this any way that you'd like. But really, we give you a great starting point anyways with the suite solution, and many of our customers are just leaving this as is. and there may be tailoring the email templates that are being automatically fired off if they'd like.
Great, that's a good example. Thank you. Okay, we are going to go ahead and conclude our webinar today. I want to make sure that we end on time. So first, I want to thank Mark for just taking us through a wonderful presentation today. Appreciate all this detail. And also thank you to all of our customers who joined. We hope you found this presentation valuable. Thank you again, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.